You were the one they bragged about. The straight A's, the trophies, the polite smile at dinner, while relatives talked about how lucky your parents were. So why does looking back on that house leave you with this strange, hollow feeling? Most people assume a toxic family is divided neatly in two. There's the scapegoat, who takes the blame and the cold shoulder, and then there's the favorite, who gets the love and gets out clean. But if you ask the people who actually lived in that top spot, they don't describe love. They describe a warm, well-lit cage. From every outside angle, the arrangement looks identical to a reward. The warmth, the praise, the financial investment, it all came with a hidden catch. You were fulfilling a role in a transaction you never agreed to. Affection was a payment for services rendered. If being chosen and being loved were the same thing, you wouldn't feel so empty. You feel that way because you were drafted into a psychological contract, and you've been working off a debt you never signed for. In a narcissistic family system, roles are assigned based on what the parent needs. They need a mirror to reflect their success, but also a place to put their shame and failure. The golden child is that mirror, reflecting back an image of a flawless family. You produce the wins the parent wears like jewelry. Here, a mistake is forbidden. A flaw in you reads as a flaw in their reflection, which is intolerable. You learn to survive this environment by monitoring yourself constantly. You figure out which of your feelings are acceptable and which ones make the temperature drop. You become intensely sensitive to your parents' mood, calculating exactly what behavior keeps the praise flowing. Picture a kid coming home with a 92 on a test and feeling not pride, but absolute dread, already rehearsing excuses. Nutt's small daily panic is the sound of a true identity being slowly outsourced to keep the job. Researchers call this dynamic conditional regard. Affection works like a salary. It arrives when you meet the quota and stops when you don't. The warmth is contingent on your ability to meet a standard. This teaches a developing mind a specific, corrosive lesson. The child learns their personal value is equal to their ability to produce, not connected to, equal to. They are only as safe as their very last win. Because the parent assigns these roles to solve their own internal problems, the favorite and the scapegoat are two products manufactured by the same factory. The scapegoat is the container for the parent's shame, so they are starved openly. The golden child is the container for the parent's pride. They are fed on a strict schedule and only ever fed conditional praise. You see this in adults who have a flawless resume and public adoration, but a flat inner life. They learned early on that warmth only came alive in front of an audience. The praise was for the room, never actually for them. This setup creates a quiet, constant fear of being laid off. But from the outside, that terror looks exactly like drive. It looks like a naturally motivated person pushing themselves, and society applauds it. Nobody asks if they are working hard because they're inspired or because resting feels dangerous. That is exactly why the golden child's pain is so easily missed. The symptom of their deep anxiety and the very peak of their success end up wearing the exact same face. The entire arrangement reveals itself the moment the grown child tries to individuate. They marry someone the parent doesn't control, they pick a different career path, or they simply say no. They step out of the spotlight and start reflecting their own face instead of the parent's. The backlash is immediate. The parent who praised you for 20 years turns on you in 20 seconds. Suddenly, the lifelong favorite is rewritten as selfish, difficult, and ungrateful. Often, the golden title is instantly stripped and handed to a sibling or a cousin. The system was never actually about your unique value. It just needed a mirror, and it will quickly find a new one. Experiencing this turn is a devastating betrayal. The temperature in the room drops, and the same person who narrated your achievements to the family now broadcasts your perceived flaws with the exact same energy. But look closely at what this proves. Love does not get revoked the instant you become inconvenient. If the affection disappeared the moment you stopped being useful, then it was always just payment for your usefulness. You had a contract. You cannot grieve a loss you refuse to name. The first step out of this is mourning the unconditional love you spent your entire life performing for, but never actually received. The wiring you built as a child doesn't switch off automatically. The real work of recovery is separating two things that were fused together a long time ago. You have to actively break the link between your worth and your output. Day to day, this looks like sending an email with a typo and not rewriting it. It means choosing what you quietly want, disappointing someone else, and tolerating the panic from that old internal manager who insists the floor is about to fall away. You spent a whole childhood being useful. You can finally put that job down. Freedom is the slow, strange discovery that you are allowed to be ordinary and still belong entirely to yourself.